against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo! Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin, the #1 daily live Bitcoin show on YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. Shouts out to everyone on Rumble. We just got verified. We love you guys. But of course, shouts out to everyone in the YouTube chat. You guys are the real MVPs. And of course, here at Simply Bitcoin, we cover breaking news, culture, and mimetic warfare. I bring on Bitcoiners from all around the world, from the biggest names to the everyday Bitcoiner that's just building cool stuff. And we will be your guide through the separation of money and state. And as you guys can tell, if you've been watching the show the last couple of weeks, we're definitely in that time of the separation of money and state. It's been a crazy week or two. I think it's been a pretty crazy 2 weeks. And this weekend, man, I had one of those weekends where I kind of unplugged, and it really dawned on me the importance of what we're doing here at not only Simply Bitcoin, but every single one of you guys that's watching this show, that's spreading this show. It really kind of sunk in the importance of all of us talking about Bitcoin, the importance of us just being a Bitcoiner and spreading the good Bitcoin tactics and behaviors and all the stuff that we're doing. I think I want to just spread that message before I get into all the news of today. Take what we're doing very seriously, guys, because if we weren't seeing what we're seeing in the last couple of weeks, it wouldn't be more and more signal that we are over the target, and everything that we're doing as Bitcoiners, everything we talk about here on the show, everything you guys talk about in the chat, they wouldn't be attacking us if it wasn't effective. And I just wanted to spread that message today on Monday. As you can tell, it's your boy Opti. I'm hosting Nico. Nico couldn't get back to the studio today, so I'm handling the hosting duties. So before I get into everything that we're talking about the show, I just want to continue to spread that signal to you guys and just remember that what we're doing here as Bitcoiners is super important. Having these conversations with your friends and family, making sure you're up to date on the news, making sure you're up to date on the best way to take your Bitcoin into custody, making sure you're aware of everything going on, because it's becoming very, very important to talk about this stuff right now, especially we're being attacked left and right. And again, I just want to reiterate, I had a few conversations with Bitcoin friends the last couple of weeks, and there was an aura of black pilledness within us. We're like, man, what can we do? We're getting attacked left and right. But the silver lining is they wouldn't be attacking us if what we were doing wasn't effective. So just continue to do what we do every single day. Continue to show up, spread the signal, have these conversations with your friends and family, because they wouldn't be so worried about Bitcoin and Bitcoiners if it wasn't working. And, I usually say at this point that we're winning so hard, but I think that might be a little premature. I think we're on the right track, and it's going to take a lot of work. We're in this for the long run. I know we all love number go up, and right now the price is going down, and so maybe people are feeling that effect on their psyche, but what we're doing is super important. And the further we go on in this journey, the more they're going to attack us, guys. So I just want you guys to be prepared and remember that what we're doing has a huge impact on the future of humanity. They wouldn't be coming after us if what we were doing didn't have an effect on their whole scheme, their whole Ponzi scheme, their whole fraud. So I just wanted to reiterate that message of hope, guys, that optimism, that what you do has an effect on what is going on in the world. So continue to beat that drum, spread that signal. It is working. We are over the target, and when you're over the target, you get more and more flack. And so enough of that, enough of the PSA on this Monday morning. You guys are here to listen to the news title. And again, this show is all about the separation of money and state, and we are in that moment. And over the weekend, I think this came out a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, but Elizabeth Warren came out again, and she dropped some press release and calling on the Biden administration to look into Iran's Bitcoin mining. And she used the same debunked FUD lines, and we're going to go completely over it. But man, imagine hating Bitcoin this much. She has a real bone to pick with Bitcoin. She's out here, everyone's favorite Karen, and she's going to continue to do this. And it's at this point, it's almost embarrassing, to be honest. But imagine hating Bitcoin this much, where no matter what happens, you're going to do whatever you can to FUD Bitcoin. We knew this was going to happen. At this point is when you start to kind of just laugh at them and be like, she's my favorite politician. Like, at least she knows what game's being played, and she's wholly aware of the consequences of her losing her position, of those in power with the fiat money printer losing their power. And man, I just love it. I just love it when they come out here and talk all this nonsense. It makes me feel really good about it. But again, just the TLDR, she came out and basically saying that we got to stop Iran from mining Bitcoin, and we need the government to look into Iran's Bitcoin mining operations, and using a lot of old bad data. And I'm going to get all into it. And she's absolutely terrified about Bitcoin. You just love to see it, guys. Just love to see it. Anyways, I'm not alone. I did call on the bench. I got a solid pinch hitter today with our boy Dom Bay, co-founder of Proof of Workforce, out here doing God's work over here. And I'm not going to dox everything he told me behind the scenes, but he's putting in some moves out there, trying to orange pill the world. And man, Dom, glad to have you. Every time you come on, we have a good time. So how you doing this morning, bro?
I'm good. I don't have an apron on, but I am cooking in the space. We are cooking right now. Number two, the intro beat had me, like we might need to get a freestyle on that intro beat later. We'll put that aside because we have Bitcoin business to discuss. And then number three, as always, good to be back. The hardest fan base in the game, the Simply Bitcoiners, love kicking it with y'all. So let's roll, dude.
Let's go. It's going to be a good show when Dom shows up. So this is going to be an epic show. And then on that note, I have a longtime friend, an old co-host partner, and co-founder, CEO of Amboss. And I brought on Jessifer, or actually he's a professional now, Jesse. I brought on Jesse today because someone in the chat, and actually a few people in the chat for the last couple of weeks, have been wanting to get an update on Lightning, on everything going on in Lightning, everything you guys are building, the privacy aspects of Lightning. Will Lightning scale Bitcoin? We're going to get all that in on the culture. So Jesse, it's good to have you, bro.
Dude,
looking sexy as always with them luscious locks. How you been, bro?
Dude, been great. Been grinding, been building out this network. Excited to dive into it with you all. And so glad to be back.
Love it, bro. Love it. Actually, let's do a little TLDR for people that don't know what you're working on. What is Amboss, and what are you guys doing over there?
We do a ton of stuff. So we started with data analytics to create a Lightning Network Explorer. So you could look up any node on the network. Then we launched a liquidity marketplace for receiving payments and receiving payments reliably. And then recently we've been working more on payment operations and ensuring that you can receive payments reliably, send payments reliably. And we've been working on research to even further that. As well as helping businesses manage all of the regulatory obligations that they might have to just stay in business and stay in the US, tap into these markets.
Love it. And I did reference you last week when we saw Phoenix leave the US and Amboss being like, we're not leaving, we're not going anywhere. So shouts out to you as a Lightning or American Lightning Bitcoin company, and being like, we're not leaving, we're planting that flag. And you were telling me some things of helping in that arena as well. So maybe we'll talk about that during the show. We're not just going to cover Lightning, we're going to cover what you guys are building at Amboss, because you're the homie, and I think you're building some good stuff. So on that note, guys, let's get into the show. We got a lot to talk about. But before we do, of course, go check out Bitcoin Well. Scan the QR code. They're the best place to buy Bitcoin in the US and Canada. They just recently expanded to America. They are a publicly traded Bitcoin company, but they've been bootstrapped, guys. No VC money. They're doing it all grassroots. It's self-custody by default. The only Bitcoin-only company that is self-custody by default. No withdrawal fees, guys. And I know the fees are getting kind of crazy, hence maybe why you want to open some Lightning channels as well. But they want to build the best self-custody by default platform. So get in touch with them. They want your feedback. send Adam DMs, tag him on the timeline. If you use the platform and you see something that you want, let them know. They're shipping new products, new features every 2 weeks. And of course, man, go to bitcoinwell.com/simplybitcoin and sign up. And if you are in Canada, they just released their Bitcoin Well Lite accounts where you can buy cash vouchers for Bitcoin. So you can get kind of some no KYC Bitcoin out there. So they're doing some great work. Absolutely love the CEO, Adam. And we're going to help them build the best Bitcoin self-custody platform by default. Make sure you are taking your Bitcoin into custody. You literally need a wallet to sign up for the platform. They are not taking shortcuts. We want everyone in the world holding their Bitcoin, at least if you want to. I know some people don't want to do that, but you need to hold your Bitcoin in custody. This is the way. Self-custody is a revolution. All right, guys, on that note, let's get into the numbers because we got a lot to talk about today.
Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed.
All right, guys, wait. Scan the QR code. Make sure you're not leaving your seed phrase on a piece of paper in your sock drawer. Put it on titanium. As Nico, he says, you do not want to explain to your grandchildren why you got yourself wrecked and you don't have any Bitcoin because, you know, your dog ate your seed phrase or whatever. All right, anyways, let's go over to Clark Moody's dashboard, go over some of the time chain stats here. Of course, my favorite number is always the block height. And actually, let's refresh this. Maybe we got a new block. No, we didn't. We're currently at block height of 842,349. The Bitcoin price is currently at 63,440, which means that the sats per dollar, aka how much the dollar is worth in sats, aka how much Bitcoin you can buy for a single dollar, is currently at 1,576. The total percentage of Bitcoin that will ever be issued, I repeat, the total percentage of Bitcoin that will ever be issued is currently at 93.78%. The market cap in fiat terms is 1.25 trillion. I believe that's right under the silver market cap. So we got to pump that number up a little bit. We need the price to go up a little bit, but it might be a May gray kind of price movement month, guys. So maybe you want some dry powder on the side. Anyways, the realized monetary inflation, you can tell it's going down, guys, at 1.69%, literally the lowest inflation rate of anything in the world currently, and people are still sleeping on Bitcoin. It's absolutely incredible. The Bitcoin versus gold market cap, it's not at 10% yet. We haven't solidified that 10% spot, but it's 7.91%. The total public Lightning capacity is currently at 4,592.9 Bitcoin. The hash rate the last 90 days, guys, I give you guys the 90-day hash rate because it's a little better average of what's been going on the Bitcoin network. But if you look at the last 2016 block hash rate, it's going absolutely insane. But the last 90 days, we're at 600 exahashes, and the pending fees 9.16 BTC. So the mempools are getting a little cleared out. All the shitcoinery on Bitcoin starting to get cleared out. So keep in mind, maybe you want to open some Lightning channels. Maybe you want to consolidate your UTXO. Now is becoming the time because you can see the fees are going to get crazy at some point. You don't want to be sitting there being like, man, I should have done it. They were telling me on Simply Bitcoin, but I was just sleeping on it. It's not that hard, guys, but do it now. You need to be prepared. Anyways, on that note, over the weekend, actually last week, Michael Saylor did a Bitcoin for Corporations conference, and we got a great clip coming out. And I wanted to give some context for everything that we're going to be saying in the news. Here's Michael Saylor talking about the Bitcoin network. And as we tweeted out, Michael Saylor giving the best explanation of the Bitcoin network and how electricity is creating a thermodynamic connection between the virtual network and the physical world. Man, his metaphors and similes are absolutely insane. But I always say it all the time. The thing that we're doing here as Bitcoin is we are connecting our money back to reality, because fiat currency has completely unhinged our money from reality. And this is why we are in all of the pain and troubles that we find ourselves in. So on that note, let's just play this clip and hear Michael Saylor talk about the Bitcoin network.
Bitcoin is the best crypto network. It's not just the best crypto asset. This is secured. This asset is secured by the most powerful computer network in the world. It's rapidly growing stronger. Hash rate's growing by 70% a year. It's growing that fast in bull markets and bear markets. It's an unstoppable thing. How much is 624 exahash? It's enough that all of the computer power of Microsoft or Amazon is not going to outdo this, right? This is a silicon machine, because the genius of an open crypto proof of work network is that very intelligent engineers can harness the power of ASIC chips to create orders of magnitude more efficiency in SHA-256 hashing. So the silicon ratchet is 2,000 to 1, 3,000 to 1 more powerful than a general purpose CPU. A GPU is not appropriate and is not capable of doing this. It's not the right technique, so you're not threatened by all the GPU capacity. And what you have here is enough hash power to create a wall of encrypted energy that's nation-state resistant, that's corporate resistant, that's Dr. Evil resistant, that's hacker resistant. There is no trick, there is no gimmick, there is no social attack. This is just raw digital power standing in the way of anybody that would try to undermine the integrity of the network. And it's also driven by electricity, 20 gigawatts of electricity, 20 full-on nuclear reactors worth of electricity. But it's a lot better than 20 full-on nuclear reactors, because this electricity is spread everywhere to the ends of the earth. The network is feeding on electricity, and that creates a decentralizing dynamic that drives all of the network to the end of the grid in the quest of stranded energy. So this network and the dynamic is going to continually decentralize, continually dissipate. It's going to continually move away from population centers where the electricity is expensive. It's going to move to places where the electricity is stranded, where it needs to be recycled. And that 30 gigawatts is going to create a thermodynamic connection between the virtual network and the physical world. This is what makes the network stable. This is what makes the network ethical. This is what makes the network politically sound. The fact that electricity is going to be coming off of a dam in Bhutan or a volcano in South America or Africa means that this is going to be a global neutral asset. There's no way anybody's going to centralize the Bitcoin network on top of a single data center. That's what makes Bitcoin the best crypto network.
Love it. Love it. Okay, guys. So the reason I wanted to bring that clip up, again, putting some context here of what we're going to be talking about in the news. But I think so few people understand how powerful the Bitcoin network is. And I really love the framing. I mean, he used the crypto network, but we're going to be saying the Bitcoin network, because so many people misinterpreted Bitcoin just as, like the price. Everyone always conflates Bitcoin as just the price. But in reality, the real powerful thing here is the Bitcoin network. And it is the biggest, strongest supercomputer in the world. And no corporation, no nation state can make a dent on that. As we saw in 2021, China tried to ban Bitcoin mining, absolutely failed. We're going to continue to see countries try to stop Bitcoin mining. They're going to also fail. And it's very important, especially at times like today when we're going to be talking about this stuff about Elizabeth Warren, that people realize that Bitcoin is an unstoppable network, that it is decentralized, it's on every corner of planet Earth, and no one entity is going to stop Bitcoin. And when you really get into the data, and Jesse in the chat said 21 gigawatts, win 21 nuclear powered power plants, that is the equal of the Bitcoin network. I really think people underestimate how powerful the Bitcoin network is. And part of the hubris that you see coming out of traditional financial systems and bureaucrats and politicians and central bankers is that either they have a totally misunderstanding of what's going on, or they overestimate their own power and they think that they can stop Bitcoin. That, oh yeah, all we have to do is throw the full weight of the US at Bitcoin and we can stop it. And in reality, when you get to the numbers of this, you start to understand how powerful the Bitcoin network actually is. 624 exahashes. We just gave you the 600 exahash number. It's the strongest, biggest supercomputer in the world, and no one corporation, no one nation state can stop Bitcoin. And that's the beauty of this network, is that it is an unstoppable monetary network, that we know the monetary policy moving forward. And the more that we see corporations and politicians and central bankers try to attack Bitcoin, the more you start to realize the futility of what they're doing. This Bitcoin network is unstoppable. Yes, they can try to stop the on and off ramps. Yes, they can attack certain Bitcoiners, but the Bitcoin network will live on. And I think it's very important to just keep reiterating these messages that this network is so huge. It is so powerful. You know, Saylor uses these very interesting metaphors for Bitcoin. He calls it a wall of cybersecurity or whatever he said, or, you know, the Bitcoin network connects the natural world to the digital world, thermodynamics and all that stuff. And really, I just love the idea of having a purely energy-backed money in a world where all of the currencies and all of the money of the world is all paper and it's all fugazi, it's all completely detached from reality. And what Bitcoin is doing, it is snapping that fake world back to reality. And that's why you're seeing so many people freak out. That's why you're seeing the Bitcoin price start to go nuclear at times. And we're going to see moving, I think, within the year, and I've already been seeing some rumors of this, but once we get the Bitcoin network completely correlated with energy markets, that's when we start to see that this is a completely unstoppable network. And as we always say, and you know, Jeff Booth is great at saying this as well, is that Bitcoin is repricing the world. We're repricing all the capital in the world. We're going to be repricing energy, and it's a truly unstoppable network. And I just love when you're able to show the numbers, show the receipts, and be like, guys, I don't think you realize how powerful this Bitcoin network is. Come and test the king. And if you come at the king, you best not miss. Anyways, let's go with Jesse first and foremost, because you're trolling in the private chat. So what's your thoughts when you see this clip?
Oh, man, it was great to see that in person in Las Vegas. And Michael Saylor delivers an incredible keynote just to really hit you over the head with, like, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the answer. There is no second best. There is no second best. So this was phenomenal to watch, and I think he's just like scratching the surface, really, of what Bitcoin is capable of, because it's not just a store of value. It's also, you know, becoming a medium of exchange, which is kind of where we're going next, which is kind of the Lightning Network. So really, he was tapping into just how powerful of a revolutionary concept Bitcoin really is. And yeah, we've got a lot more coming on that front.
Yeah, I love it. It really blows your mind when you see the numbers. You're like, oh my God, this Bitcoin network it might actually be unstoppable, right? And once you get to that point, you're like, oh man. And also he even mentioned, and again, especially when we're going to be talking about Elizabeth Warren in the news and so many people coming after Bitcoin mining and, oh, we're wasting all this energy and, you know, we're going to boil the oceans. And I even saw Greenpeace do another attack last week that just completely flopped. When you really show the numbers and you're like, guys, Bitcoin miners are incentivized to find the cheapest energy possible, whether that means stranded energy, whether that means buying from normal suppliers. It's like, we're not taking away energy or electricity from people's houses. It's like we're incentivized to use the cheapest energy possible in areas that most people aren't going to use anyways. And then we have people like Elizabeth Warren come out and be like, they're going to boil the oceans. And you're like, it just goes to show that most of the time when they're attacking Bitcoin, they are doing so for an agenda. And if they really use the correct data, then their floodlines would fail and completely fall flat on their faces. But that's not the point. The point is not to actually use the truth here. The point is just to scare people away from using Bitcoin, and also use the might of any government out there to try to stampede and attack Bitcoin. But hey, you guys are running the nodes. We're out here. Bitcoin miners are going everywhere, incentivized to find the cheapest energy. And this network is unstoppable. So hopefully soon the politicians will figure that out. But until then, they're going to continue to attack us. Enough ranting from me. Dom, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no surprise here, Opti. You know, the thing that does not lend itself to third-party degeneracy is being attacked by the guardians of third-party degeneracy. So no surprise there. You know, I'm just kind of wondering, why aren't they attacking it more? Because we still got time to get our chips in order and get ready, and spread the good word into self-custody. Number two, when are we going to see a Bitcoin Back to the Future remake? I think now Sailor for sure can be Doc, because he's talking about gigawatts. And you remember, Marty, 1.21 gigawatts. Like, so we got that locked. I think Jack Mahler's for sure is Marty. Sailor's Doc, maybe Breedlove plays Biff. I don't know. It's open, but we gotta get Lionsgate on the phone, because we need to see this. I need to see Sailor running around Back to the Future style with Maulers. So
love it. And like, to your point, what was the number they used? 1.21 gigawatts to time travel. The Bitcoin network is at 20 gigawatts. Like this, the power behind the Bitcoin network, I think, really blows people's minds once you really look at the data. You're like, oh my God, this Bitcoin network is a supercomputer. This is insane. And yet, like, kind of Dom's trolling obviously a little bit, but to your point there, I think what we're seeing right now is the powers that be try to scramble, and they're realizing that, oh man, the genie is out of the bag. I think it's a little too little, too late, but hey, they're going to try to clamp down on Bitcoin as much as possible. And this is why we tell you guys always, take Bitcoin into custody. Most of the Bitcoin is in self-custody. And until they actually outlaw Bitcoin, you still got a chance, and they can't stop this thing. So, man, it feels good being a Bitcoiner. It feels so good being a Bitcoiner. I love it. All right. Anyways, on that note, before we get to the news, we do want to give a shout out to our boy Anders. We are going to be in Nashville at the Pleb Party in Nashville, July 25th by Anders. It's going to be 12 hours of complete degeneracy, open bar from noon to midnight in Nashville the day before Bitcoin Conference 2024, and confirmed attendees will be Larry Lepard, Preston Pish, the entire Simply Bitcoin crew. We're going to have James Lavish, Breedlove, Mark Moss, Pub Lord, and the one and only Tatum turn up, guys. It's an amazing venue, a rustic automobile factory from the 1910s, brick walls. There's going to be vibes there. It's going to be music. Only 1,000 people will be able to attend, so get your tickets now, guys, before you're in Nashville and you're like, man, what am I going to do tonight? And all your friends are at the party, so make sure you get your tickets, guys. We will see you there. Anders knows how to throw a party, guys. It's always a good time. All right, let's get to the news, because this is why you're here.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more.
Wait, guys, do not think about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges. This is the way, guys. This is the way. And scan the QR code. We made it super easy for you. And I don't have my passport because mine's locked away because, you know, I'm like, yeah, I don't like leaving it around, even though I live alone. But hey, you know, I'm a little more paranoid than Nico is. But the passport with Envoy, it's super easy. Highly recommend it, guys. If you want a hardware wallet, definitely get yourself one. All right. On that note, of course, let's get into the meat of today. So this tweet came across my timeline from Bitcoin Magazine. It is, of course, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren calls on President Joe Biden to stop Iran from mining Bitcoin. And they go, imagine hating Bitcoin this much. First and foremost, like, she really thinks that they can stop people from mining Bitcoin. It's just like, send them a letter. Did she send Iran an angry email? Like, guys, can you please stop mining Bitcoin? Like, we really appreciate it. Anyways, let's look at her official press release here. And you can say, this is dated May 1st, but I believe it came out May 3rd. So she goes, Dear Secretary Austin, Secretary Yellen, and Mr. Sullivan, we write to inquire about the Biden administration's effort to combat Iran's rampant evasion of U.S. and international sanctions through cryptocurrency, crypto mining. Iran legalized the crypto mining industry in 2019. In the 5 years since, Iran has raised millions of dollars through mining crypto, a steady revenue source that allows it to purchase imports, move funds domestically and internationally, and fund Hamas and other terrorist organizations. This ongoing activity by the Iranian government threatens our national security. Well, I did look into some of this stuff. I'm not going to read the whole article here or the whole press release here, but first and foremost, she is still using the Hamas FUD that has been completely debunked. I do have Sam Callahan's thread up here and even Tom Emmer debunking this whole thing, and they're still using that FUD line to try to get the Biden administration to stop Iran from mining Bitcoin. But going down further, you can see that a lot of the data in here is quoted from 2021. Again, guys, need I remind you that we're in 2024. So she's using outdated data to try to stop mining in Iran, which is absolutely incredible. I can't believe they're letting her get away with this stuff. But anyways, we're going to fact check a few of this and you'll see just how ridiculous it is. So Iran is one of the world's largest Bitcoin producers. In 2021, again, we're in 2024, Iran was estimated to mine as much as 7% of the global Bitcoin market, which is not true, at least not now, making it one of the top 8 Bitcoin producing countries in the world. And if you look here, these citations are all for 2021, which you think they would update this, but you know, facts don't matter here anyways. Crypto mining has become such a big industry in Iran that it has strained the country's energy grid, leading the Iranian government to temporarily suspend crypto mining several times after it was blamed for massive blackouts. According to Elliptic, a blockchain analytics firm, the electricity being used by miners in Iran would require the equivalent of approximately 10 million barrels of crude oil each year to generate around 4% of total Iranian oil exports in 2020, more than 3% of all inflows to Iranian crypto exchanges, and more than 29% of all Bitcoin inflows are estimated to come from mining pools. And of course, it's become very lucrative. And of course, they go on to say that they're money laundering and Hamas is using Bitcoin and we should stop this. And of course, as we say here all the time, you know, sanctions laws do not abide with Bitcoin, or rather Bitcoin is unstoppable in regards to these sanctions laws. And she uses this trope here. Iran's use of crypto to evade sanctions pose a direct threat to our national security. Of course, she's using the war as an excuse for them to stop Bitcoin mining and uses terrorist groups as reasons. And, you know, Bitcoin bad and bad people are using Bitcoin, so we must stop them from using Bitcoin. It's all at this point just used and debunked FUD lines. But anyways, this is what she called for here. To better understand the scope of Iran's reliance on crypto mining and crypto to evade sanctions and finance terrorism and the steps the administration has taken to address these threats, we ask that you provide responses to the following questions by May 16th, 2024. How much revenue have crypto miners based in Iran earned from crypto mining since 2021? How much of this revenue is believed to be collected by the Iranian government or actors affiliated with the Iranian government? How much money does the administration believe the Iranian government launders in cryptocurrency each year? To what extent does Iran fund terrorist organizations, military actions, or weapons development through cryptocurrency? And 5, excuse me, guys, please describe the steps the administration is taking to address threats to U.S. national security posed by Iran's reliance on crypto mining and cryptocurrency more generally to earn revenue and bypass sanctions. And of course, I got to bring up the Wall Street Journal attack and the FUD article, straight up fake news. Hamas militants behind Israel attack raised millions in crypto. This came out October. Sam Callahan thoroughly did debunk this whole article. They said the article claimed about 90 million worth of crypto was used to fund Hamas, when in reality, the actual number was what? $450,000 worth of funds for, Hamas coming from crypto. And really, they used a lot of bad math in it, and they were using bad data, and they were correlating people that were just holding Bitcoin to them funding terrorist groups. And again, the facts don't matter here in regards to what Elizabeth Warren is doing. She just absolutely hates Bitcoin, and she's going to use whatever quote unquote data she can to basically get people to attack Bitcoin, to attack Bitcoiners, to attack Bitcoin mining. And I really like the trope of, Bitcoin mining is a threat to national security, which is just hilarious at this point. It's like, we have so many things going on back home that, like, why should we care about who's using anything in their own country? But that's besides the point, because the facts don't matter here. It's about a feel-good narrative. And we even have other politicians basically calling out Elizabeth Warren and calling out the bad data and calling out the fact that the Wall Street Journal is pouring out fake news and that the facts don't matter. So I will use Congressman Tom Emmer here in his own words, in his own deposition, talking about the fact that this is all fake news. So let's listen to Tom Emmer. I'm not going to play the whole clip because it's 4 minutes. I'll just play the beginning of it.
On October 10th, 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that between August 2021 and June 2023, Hamas received 41 million in digital assets, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad received 93 million in digital assets. Under Secretary Nelson, is this Treasury's assessment too? Because the world's leading blockchain analytics firms have called this a misinterpretation of the data, and that the amount that any terrorist might have received is significantly smaller.
Thank you for that question, Congressman. And yes, I think that assessment largely tracks with our own. The numbers noted in the Wall Street Journal piece talked about wallets, but not necessarily the sort of disaggregated among the wallets customers.
It's assets that people had in their wallets, as opposed to what was specifically going to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad.
That's what we
and
think
Hamas
is most likely. And we also assess that terrorists still prefer, frankly, to use traditional products and services. But this is something that we are obviously monitoring very closely.
And I appreciate that. How much do you think actually got into the hands of Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad?
I think we can have a classified conversation about precise numbers or expectations. I think we have done in both Hamas and the PIDGE a good job at identifying the virtual asset service providers that they've relied on and the financial facilitators that they have historically relied on that would tend to use virtual assets. So we don't expect the number is very high, particularly.
I'd love to take you up on that, because I sent a letter with several other members right after this erroneous Wall Street Journal report asking for specific information. So we'll take you up on that offer. Under Secretary Nelson.
Okay, you guys heard it there. Enough of that. But gosh, it's so incredible. I'm always at loss of words when people take politicians seriously. At least Tom Emmer is like trying to actually clarify some of these data points. And so we got over the actual numbers of how much was directly coming from crypto assets, when in reality, we all know real criminals like the dollar, but hey, we can't get calls to ban the dollar. But if Elizabeth Warren really cared about criminals and the threat to national security, then she would probably ask about an investigation into the dollars. But hey, let's not talk about the big elephant in the room. So I'm over here on World Population Review, and does it have it up here? Oops. So this is Bitcoin mining worldwide. And in that press release, she said that Iran had about 7% of the Bitcoin network. And maybe that was true in 2021, but it's very surprising that she didn't update her numbers to 2024. And you can see here this, and I'm going to show two different data points here, but they say the same thing, that the monthly hash rate share of Iran on the Bitcoin network is 0.12%. I repeat, 0.12%. But hey, you know, it doesn't sound as good as saying that Iran holds 7% of the Bitcoin network. And again, I'm over here on Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index, and they confirm. And even this says December 21, 0.12%. So even if you go back to the 2021 numbers, they're completely false in that report. But again, the facts don't matter here. This isn't about facts and what's the truth. This is about trying to stop the adoption of Bitcoin. And at this point, I don't know why we keep talking about Elizabeth Warren. It's becoming my favorite thing to dunk on politicians. And our job here is to continue to debunk the politicians, the fake news, and counter their narratives. But it just goes to show that the facts don't matter here. What they really want to do is use any excuse to stop people from holding Bitcoin. We are in the then they fight you stage. As we saw last week, they are throwing whatever at the wall to try to stop Bitcoin, to try to stop Bitcoin privacy, to try to stop people from taking Bitcoin into custody. We've seen them attack the on and off ramps. And now they're going to continue to roll out the big bad boogeymens of the world and say, oh, we got to stop them from using Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's a threat to the national security. When in reality, the real threat to national security is the fact that people don't want to use the dollar anymore. The dollar's getting absolutely devastated, and we're getting blamed for that. They have abused their power, and now they're using any scapegoat possible. And right now, the scapegoat, the flavor of the month is Bitcoin, and we're going to continue to see this play out. And as everyone in the chat saying, you know, we all know Elizabeth Warren's a shill for the big banks, but hey, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about where her true incentive lies here, because it's not about protecting the citizen out there. It's about protecting their moat and their power. And as we all know, you know, I'm not here to justify anyone's use of Bitcoin, but that's the whole point of Bitcoin. It's permissionless. Literally anyone can opt into the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin is for anyone. Bitcoin is for enemies. And the thing that we need most in the world right now is a neutral money. And I'm not here to be a world police and tell people who can or cannot use money. That's the point of this whole experiment. It's anyone that wants to opt in into the network can use it. And it's censorship resistant. It's permissionless. It's debasement proof money. And people that find a use for that will use it. Full stop. And so, hey, Elizabeth Warren, I love that you're here to try to protect us, quote unquote, but you have no power here. Sorry, complain more. You write up all the angry emails you want, but it's going to have no effect on people adopting the Bitcoin network at large. Anyways, let's jump in with Dom. Dom, what's up, bro? What's your thoughts on all this?
I was just doing some calculations, and obviously Liz Warren is digging her own hole, but I think the White House, this may not be reliable, so please don't quote me on this, but they did some calculations that if Liz Warren only makes her letter material softer, it can save the White House $784,000 a year in toilet paper supplies. And so if they can reuse those letters because they're so frequent now, that's a lot of money, and we know the deficit's adding up. So it'd be good to see some work done on the deficit with all these letters that Liz is sending.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Conservatively.
All right, Christopher, what's your thoughts on this?
For Elizabeth Warren to like crack down on this is really trying to attack what we see as neutral money. I think you alluded to this. I mean, it's the same concept as like net neutrality. I mean, when people are, connecting to the internet, like, yeah, there's bad stuff that happens on the internet, but that doesn't mean that everyone is involved in that. How do they ring fence what they do versus, the actual criminal activity? So that's like an ongoing piece. And what we're seeing as a consequence is, businesses in the Bitcoin space, like that rhetoric is damaging. And the reality is they're going to leave the US and they're going to leave the places where she has jurisdiction. Additionally, the protocol itself is anti-fragile. So like the more that she like turns the wrench on the protocol actually improves. And so we will see more efforts being put into privacy research, especially ones without any centralization. Or we'll see more decentralized, more anti-fragile technologies that's able to circumnavigate or just kind of avoid any of these restrictions that she may put in place. So this is an evolving technology, and she'll be trying to keep pace. But really, this is something that cannot be controlled because we've introduced money through a sly, roundabout way that is resistant to inflation, that's resistant to control. But additionally, it brings in transparency. And I think that is incredibly threatening to politicians and power wielders around the world, that it will enable, instead of surveillance, it will enable surveillance. So we'll be able to see just how politicians are using money, instead of having the money that is perfect for money laundering, which is the US dollar. But the more that the US dollar tries to get control over the money to try and prevent criminal activity, it does put at risk the money itself. So as we saw with US treasuries at the beginning of the Russia and Ukrainian war, so that was a weakening of the dollar by kind of confiscating the US treasuries.
Love it, Jesse. It's always a little more sober when it comes from Jesse. Much more rational than I am, which I love. But someone in the chat said, let me see if I can find this comment here. I just had it. Multi-Sacker goes, Warren is running against Deaton. Put Deaton's response to Liz's lies. So I couldn't find exactly which tweet you were mentioning, but I did just find this, which I find very interesting. So let me pull this up. The first one, he's quote tweeting this tweet here by some guy, Dave Weisberger, and he goes, Senator Warren is saying, or actually, let's go for the first one. Andrew Bailey goes, when powerful lawmakers rage against non-custodial wallets, they are not striking a blow against quote unquote big crypto. Rather, they oppose little crypto, normal people keeping money themselves instead of in the pockets of a corporation. And there's a quote tweet that goes, Senator Warren is saying, you must use banks or if unbanked, payday lenders, no matter what they charge, she will take away cash and exclude whoever she wants from the financial system. It's all about control. And then Deaton's response goes, question, if only a few words tell us why you're running for U.S. Senate against Elizabeth Warren, answer because freedom is on the line. Anyone who believes I'm engaging in hyperbole isn't paying attention. And he does dunk on her a little more down here, calling her the crypto candidate. She's at it again, and she's worried about all this other stuff that has no effect on the average person, but she's just continuing to double down on crypto. And it's just, man, I am not in Massachusetts, so I don't think I have a say on who I can vote here, but it sounds like this Deaton guy gets it, and he's a lot more based than Elizabeth Warren. So if you are in Massachusetts, I'd highly suggest you do not vote for Elizabeth Warren and vote for this Deaton guy. Do you want to jump in, Dom? One second. Oh, go.
Whoever that comment about attacking the little guy, right? It's 100% accurate and in line with the ping pong exchange that we saw between Jamie Dimon and Liz Warren, when Jamie Dimon was like, it's only for criminals, this and that. Surely people that are in big money know that they're full of shit. And because they're like, wait a minute, like I'm getting letters from an ETF coming into my mailbox, like in Harry Potter when they're trying to get him to go to Hogwarts. They're flying in. So surely this isn't just for criminals. Who's the one that loses out on a public discourse like that? Your everyday worker that goes, I see the most powerful banker and a senator talking about how this is bad. Let me hold off. I kind of want to, let's not jump into that. So that's who they're harming when they have a conversation. They're not harming, no one in Iran is changing anything. No big money's changing anything. It's just the everyday stacker that hasn't found Bitcoin yet. That's who they're hurting for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. And really, we say it all the time on the show, Bitcoin exposes people's incentives. And when they come after Bitcoin, they can dress it up in whatever they want. But the truth always comes out. It's like, especially with Elizabeth Warren, she came out, made her platform on the Occupy Wall Street. And, years later, now she's basically a big bank shill, and she's out here just like pretending like she cares for the average citizen. And in reality, everything she's talking about is going to hurt the average citizen. But there's still people out there that think yeah, Elizabeth Warren has our best intentions in mind, and I'm going to vote for her. She's got that nice, friendly grandmother vibe to her. She knows what's right for the country. She knows what's right for me as a citizen. And we're like, no, literally do the exact opposite of what she's saying, and you'll probably be in a better position, because everything she is doing will actually hurt you. But hey, we're the crazy ones on the internet. We're the crazy Bitcoiners. But hey, the world will learn soon enough that we are right, and they need to be stacking some Bitcoin. Anyways, before we get into the culture, I'm super excited for today's conversation with Jesse. Get on the Orange Pill app. Shouts out to everyone on the Orange Pill. You need to stack friends who stack sats. This is the way, guys. Join the Simply Bitcoin group in there. Super, super poppin'. Hit the description. It's in the chat. If you are traveling and you want to hang out with Bitcoiners, get on the Orange Pill app. If you are the lone crazy Bitcoiner in your community, get on the Bitcoin app. Maybe there's other Bitcoiners around you. Like we say all the time, yes, hanging out on Bitcoin Twitter, yes, hanging out on the internet with Bitcoiners is awesome, and I respect your OPSEC 100%. But the real magic is when you hang out with Bitcoiners in real life and you build local communities, you build these relationships in meat space, and that's how we get stronger. You are not the strong lone wolf out there. There's power in numbers. Get on the Orange Pill app and make sure you are building a local community. This is how we win. Scan the QR code below, guys. Let's get into the culture.
The Daily Culture.
All right, guys, you already know KABOOMRACKS. KABOOMRACKS is the best place to buy, sell, and host your Bitcoin miners. And I absolutely love the KABOOMRACKS team. One of my good friends, Alex, he's the GOAT over there. He will literally hold your hand and tell you everything you need to know. So if you've been on the fence, if you're wondering if you should get into Bitcoin mining, definitely get in touch with them. And they also want to talk about their special sale going on right now, offering instant hosting for their S19K Pros. There's a one-time payment of $2,466 plus $160 per month afterwards. The hash rate goes online immediately after you pay. You own the miner. This is not a hash rate contract. The equipment is already online and has been running, so it has a very low chance of death on arrival. And the price includes a 3-month security deposit in first month. The hosting is priced at a low rate of 0.079 per kilowatt hour. Start hashing now with KABOOMRACKS on an S19K Pro. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So, of course, actually, before I pull up your website, Jesse, let's just talk about the Bitcoin Lightning Network in general. So I got a question. I actually got a few questions the last couple of weeks from people. We've seen all the crazy stuff going on in the privacy front. We're seeing Roger Ver made a new appearance saying, Bitcoin was hijacked and that Bitcoin's not going to scale. And so I figured I'd reach out to someone that is working directly with Lightning that has a pretty good overview of what's going on in the Lightning ecosystem. And that is you, Jesse, aka Jestifer. I know him as Jestifer, working at Amboss. So let's just start with the general overview of Lightning. You've been working with the Lightning Network for what now, like 4 years now. So I think you have a pretty good overview of what's going on in the Lightning Network. Will Lightning scale Bitcoin? Is Lightning the silver bullet? Let's start there, and then we'll go into more of like a Lightning privacy conversation, and then we'll talk about Amboss. So what's your general thoughts of Lightning? Where is it at right now? How's it evolved? What are you seeing?
Overall, Lightning is the bleeding edge of payments and Bitcoin. So we're really on the front lines of things. What we're seeing is on-chain transaction fees are going up, due to runes, ordinals, inscriptions, and just overall inscriptions. So we're seeing other uses of the blockchain, but we still need to protect the commerce that actually happens on Bitcoin. So if you want to actually use Bitcoin, you're going to have to pay transaction fees. And the most efficient way to do that is still to create a Lightning channel, which is reusable payments infrastructure. So you can actually use it repetitively. And every single time that you use that channel, it becomes cheaper and it's more efficient to actually use that system. So we're seeing Lightning overall transition from the hobbyist network that I started with in 2019, late 2018, and now it's becoming this critical business infrastructure. So like for exchanges to operate as transaction fees rise, they really want to maintain that really positive user experience of using Bitcoin, like the backbone of their entire exchange operation. Like this is the money. It needs to be the most frequently traded commodity within the market. That's what makes it a money. And so exchanges are really on the front lines of this, trying to improve their user experience with fast, cheap transactions. And they're also seeing, regulatory crackdowns. So we do need to protect these businesses that are continuing to operate in the space, even in an adversarial environment. And so overall, over the past year, there's been some major changes within the Lightning Network. The nodes have overall decreased, the channels have decreased. But what we have seen is that the size of the channels have increased. So that means that's more of a pruning behavior. So we're getting rid of some of these smaller nodes that were essentially useless, and we're kind of pruning to actually make the channels and the connections within the Lightning Network align more closely with how actual payments flow within this new Lightning economy. But Lightning is changing all the time, and so we're kind of it's dynamic. So anytime that there is a drop in transaction fees on the Bitcoin network, the really strategic folks are using that opportunity to deploy additional capital towards different aspects or different parts of the economy that need liquidity or need additional connections.
Love it. Love it. So I do have a question, and maybe this is a hot button topic here. I don't want to put you on the spot here, Jestifer, but you did kind of mention it. So I remember for a while there was a narrative of a hobbyist Lightning node, and maybe you can get money doing routing. And now from what you're kind of telling me is the Lightning Network is maturing a lot. And some might say it's centralizing, but I think this is a good improvement of the network where if you connect to one of these Lightning service providers, you get quick payments. The payments will fail less. So to me, it sounds like the Lightning Network is improving. But the question is, should hobbyists, Lightning enthusiasts try to create a Lightning node, or should they just open up the channels? I did look over here at mempool.space, and the fees right now are roughly around the 40 sat per VByte era right now. So is it a good time to be opening up Lightning channels? What's your thoughts on that?
let's see, the mempool is always uncertain. So you never know how much transaction fees could be, but we're seeing consistent demand for being part of the Bitcoin blockchain. That happens with images, that happens with new token minting, but it also happens for payments. And that's the piece that really needs to be preserved to maintain, Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. So creating those Lightning channels is extremely important. And so the folks that are deploying capital there will be able to enjoy lower transaction fees as the usage of the Bitcoin blockchain and the demand for it increases. And I believe it was Peter Willa that said, just kind of model the demand for the Bitcoin blockchain and that block space as limitless. And so we've got this infinite demand for stamping data into the Bitcoin blockchain, and that data may be images or transactions. But really, there's an ongoing competition, and there is a marketplace going on here. In order to preserve the decentralization of the network, we created the Magma Marketplace, which allows basically anyone to be an LSP, and you don't have to worry about the centralization of those Lightning service providers, those LSPs, because basically you can buy a channel from anywhere, and you can actually control your network connections and not have to rely on a single provider and avoid the problems of vendor lock-in, where they may cut you off from actually being able to transact. So you have a multitude of options to actually connect with anyone around the world to set up your payment system that is anti-fragile and censorship resistant.
Love it. Love it. Okay. We do have a comment in here, and I do want to pivot this into a slight conversation about Lightning privacy. But Noah G goes, Lightning can block your transaction. So, Jessica, you want to touch on that and then kind of touch on the general idea of Lightning as maybe, I wouldn't say a privacy solution, but using Lightning as a more private focused way to transact on Bitcoin?
Yeah, the technology itself for Lightning allows you to have transaction level privacy, which is something that is extremely valuable to have. So I don't need to. The Bitcoin blockchain doesn't need to know about, and the entire world doesn't need to know about every single transaction that you do. But the only part that Bitcoin is interested in is actually the net flows, and so you can actually have kind of these payments that flow back and forth, and you can make really efficient use of that instead of stamping each individual transaction that you might make in an entire economy. It's also faster because you don't need to update a blockchain and propagate this transaction to the entire world. Lightning transactions are truly peer-to-peer, so you're selecting one other person to be your channel partner, and the only people that know about the transactions is you two. And so that is an extremely important piece. The payments are also routed using onion routing, similar to Tor. So an intermediate hop might not actually know where the payment originated or where the destination may be, but it actually, in a capital efficient way, moves value around the world at near instantly, with very high privacy assurances.
Love it. Love it. And I do have a question, and this might be like a normie question, but I'm sure someone out there is thinking this, considering everything we're seeing in the last couple of weeks. But is there a possibility for, say, like a chain analytics company to completely map the Lightning network and, I don't know, it break that privacy aspects of the Lightning network?
The Lightning network is simply too complex. I mean, even if you were, starting up a node and you set your fees to 0 and you're trying to capture as much data as possible, you still won't be able to, because the control of the payment routes actually happens at the source. So you would be able to route around entities like that, even if they have low fees. So you will make a trade-off between, providing data to them versus saving on cost of transactions. But starting up a node doesn't give you knowledge about the entire network. It only gives you knowledge about what goes through your own node. So it's it's really quite private overall, and you can have payments routing all over the place. And it's essentially impossible to actually know about the entire economy within Lightning. We've seen things like the River report that actually show transactions increasing, but it's using pretty wild projections of what's happening on the River node to say what's happening for the rest of the Lightning Network. We simply don't know.
Got it. Love it. Okay, great. I'm sure that cleared up some things for people in the chat. All right, Dom, you said you have a question. Shoot it.
Quick question for our guy. Okay, so I do a lot of stuff with workers, and with everything that's happening, there's a lot of complexity. The goalposts and things are always shifting. But for your everyday worker who's stacking Bitcoin in self-custody, but wants to have flexibility to accept and transact with Lightning with cheap fees, what's like the go-to kind of, simple, like must-have steps to put themselves in a good spot as you see it right now? That's part one. Part two is, how do you recommend people what's the best way to establish privacy for people to transact with each other, but also be in a good spot with compliance and not get rugged on your future setup? So, if you did set up a Phoenix channel and you're using that, right, that's over. So now you got to reset that up. What's that? I know it's a lot there, but those kind of two questions I was really curious about for your everyday working folk.
Yeah, I mean, the regulatory crackdown has been pretty damaging to like the network effects that we've been enjoying in Lightning and kind of the innovations. I mean, Phoenix was by far my favorite wallet and one that I recommended as a non-custodial option. And I hope to see additional innovations on that front. One thing that people can use is actually Aqua Wallet, which is using swaps between Lightning and Liquid, which is a pretty decent solution to actually still have a good user experience. So that's one that I would recommend. Also, if you want to completely take control of your payments infrastructure, you can run a node, and you can go to voltage.cloud and run a node that way, and then establish your own payment channels. That's especially useful if you're going to launch a business, you want to launch an exchange. So that's one piece. And then for overall like risk management for the folks that say, I want to connect to the internet of money and I'm not involved in any of the money laundering, terrorism things. We do have Reflex, which is a payment operations suite specifically designed to answer those questions and continue to maintain operations and grow the network effect of Lightning.
And I got one more, Opti, bro. Don't kill me, dude. I'm just a pleb. I'm just a pleb trying to get mine. I'm trying to get mine, bro.
This is why we got Jesse on the show, so you can ask questions to someone that's working in Lightning.
All right, so I'm still not on speaking terms with ChatGPT for trying to set up my own Lightning node internally through Mac OS. What are the developments on Mac OS on running your own Lightning node with no third-party setup, no virtual machine, natively on Mac OS running a Lightning node? Has there been any advancements in that? I was kind of familiar with some of the options, but where is that at right now?
That's a great question. And fortunately, I probably won't be able to comment on that too much, but I have seen Umbrel distro used. There's also some innovations happening with Start 9 for the people that are comfortable running their own hardware, like usually in their own homes. Now that introduces additional complexity. So be prepared to learn quite a bit to actually manage that hardware infrastructure. But laptops are popular options, and you can essentially get a used laptop that has a battery backup, because when people are managing their own hardware, the biggest thing that they have to manage is internet outages and power outages especially. So having a battery backup system is essential for maintaining the record of all of your transactions, because no one else has those records of transactions. So you have to maintain that, and that is your truth. Maintain the database at all costs, and that's where you invest in battery backup infrastructure, which laptops generally already have in place.
Love it. Love it. Okay. I do want to pivot to Amboss so we can talk about what you're working on, but I do have a simple question. And you didn't mention Aqua Wallet, but is that the Lightning wallet that you're recommending, right? I know it's like Lightning Liquid, but like now that we lost, we lost Wallet Satoshi, we lost Phoenix. What Lightning wallet are you recommending for people maybe that don't have a node, that they connect to? Like I love Zeus as well. And I'm a huge fan of Mutiny, but like, what is your go-to wallet that you recommend right now?
Yeah, I use Zeus myself to connect to my own node. And so that's the way to make it be your own transactions. And for while there's this crackdown, it's like the regulated ones are the ones that are still remaining. So there's still ZBD and Cash App, which are both like KYC. There's also Strike. So I use Strike all the time. And I really enjoy that user experience. But if you want to avoid KYC, you can still use Aqua. I've seen some success with Mutiny Wallet, yeah, those are basically the options right now.
Oh man, we're losing all the wallets. All right, let's talk about Amboss. All right, so for those showing up late, Justifer, what is Amboss.space? And then we can go into some of the different product features that you have here.
Sure. So the first what you see on Amboss.space is Lightning Network Explorer. So you can look up any node on the network. So if you want to look up Kraken, for example, you can basically just type it in the box and be able to find that node. And so you'll be able to look up individual stats on it. And you can, if you scroll up to the top, you can actually go to the channel map and see all of the channel connections that Kraken has all over the Lightning Network. And so you can actually kind of construct your own payment system around this. It's like you're tapping into the payment network. Overall, Amboss provides additional statistics about the node, about the Lightning Network. And Kraken is an exchange that is enabled with Lightning. But you can also see the capacity over time. You can see the node growth. You can look at the capacity in terms of dollars, and you can see that we're near all-time highs for Lightning capacity. You can also see the channels, and that number of channels on the Lightning Network has been decreasing overall. We've launched a marketplace for liquidity, and then we've launched an automation service on there. So if you don't want to think about Lightning channels, use Hydro. And so Hydro will automatically buy all the liquidity that's needed for your node, for you to be able to receive payments without having to manage channels.
Interesting. How's that work? How does Hydro work? Oh, here it kind of tells you.
Yeah, so you connect your node, you enable notifications, you pre-purchase credits, which we'll be able to use to buy Lightning channels to your node on your behalf. So basically, we're telling other people that are on the Lightning Network, hey, if you open a new channel to Opti, you can get paid, and we'll take the lowest cost liquidity that still meets our quality criteria, and be able to ensure that Opti will be able to receive all the zaps that you're going to send because you love the content on Simply Bitcoin.
Send zaps. All right, awesome. Wait, is this using an AI to automate it, or are you guys manually automating it on the back end?
We're manually automating it.
Okay.
It's simply like an order book. So there's a whole bunch of offers that people have posted on Magma for the folks that want to earn yield on their Bitcoin without ever giving up custody. So avoiding the problems of BlockFi and Celsius. It's for the folks that want to earn yield and already have an established presence on Lightning and Bitcoin that they're willing to allocate. So you can buy a channel from Nodaloo and be able to receive payments, and you can have Nodaloo be part of your payment network.
Amazing. Okay. Justifer, I do want to do one last thing with you. and it's a TLDR, like step one to getting fully onboarded sovereignly on their own Lightning node. So using Amboss, what would be like the 0 to 1 step-by-step guide on setting up a node? So like you get like BTC Pay Server or Lick or a Voltage, and then you buy some channels for Magma. Like how's that process go? So if someone's out there interested on setting up their own Lightning node.
Yeah, so I would start with Voltage, go to voltage.cloud, spin up ThunderHub, and use that to connect to any other node on the network. And so you can use Amboss to look up a node that you like and find their connection information. You paste that into ThunderHub, and you open your first channel. Now, with one channel open, you'll be able to be discoverable on Amboss. And so you will have your own node page that will be automatically created. And then next step, if you want to receive payments, sign up for Hydro. And so that will start opening additional channels to your node.
Love it. Okay, one last question for me personally. What is your like recommended Lightning channel size? Like, say, so if I just want to create one channel and I just want to push payments through, and I know how Lightning works, you know, once I send, I'm able to receive. So like, what is like, I don't know, I know it's not for everyone, and it's, you know, one size doesn't fit all, but like, what is the recommended channel size for someone out there like me? Like, I just want to send some sats through. I'm not really receiving too much. Like, how big of a channel do you think I should set up?
I think what's common for the first channel is like about 1 million sats. And so if you open a 1 million sat channel, that's capable at today's Bitcoin price of sending a payment up to $633. And so you could send much smaller payments, but no larger than that 633. So that's really the kind of the trade-off that you're making. But we're seeing the median channel size across the Lightning Network is about 2 million sats. And on the marketplace, we see like 2.5 million sats. So that's 0.025 Bitcoin is actually being used in these Lightning channels. And as the Bitcoin price goes up, that Lightning channel infrastructure becomes more and more valuable and capable of handling larger and larger payments using the exact same infrastructure that you set up years ago when the Bitcoin price was super low.
So just to clarify for people, your channels don't go stale, and if you open one up today, you can use the same channel for a long, long time.
Exactly. And you can run ThunderHub on your own machine if you'd like. I think most people will run their node on a cloud service. So you could spin up DigitalOcean if you're pretty technical, or you can get an Umbrel for the plebs that want to run their own hardware.
Okay, did he answer your question, Dom? I see it in the chat, and he just hit on it.
Yeah, well, because the Umbrel, I'm still looking for that like a Mac Mini, being able to run it natively on that hardware without Umbrel, without a virtual machine, so that if you need to take your setup elsewhere, you're locked and loaded, ready to go. I don't think, other than building a node like natively from scratch, I don't know if that's there yet. But obviously Umbrel and using a virtual machine is pretty easy. So
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's essential. I mean, you're thinking of a self-sovereign setup, and that's like the goal that we should all be striving for, to make sure that our money is unstoppable and we still get to tap into the great user experience of Lightning, where you have cheap, fast payments. So instead of paying 3% to Visa and MasterCard, the median fee across the Lightning Network is 0.005%. And so that's the cost of settlement on this new payment system with better technology enabled by the Lightning Network.
Love it, man. All right. Jesse, aka Jessifer. I know him as Jessifer. I don't like calling you by Jesse. Anyways, what is the last 2 stats that you want to leave with the audience today? It could be about Lightning, Bitcoin, life, and boss. What's the last message you want to leave with the audience?
The on-chain fees are going up. So in order to preserve the user experience of great payments on Bitcoin, you got to start using Lightning. And reach out to us. We're always here to help. We just launched a new Lightning guide for those exchanges that are coming up with their Lightning strategy, and help them think through all the different components that we've just scratched the surface of today.
Love it. Actually, I do. I have some more questions. Sorry. Do you think 2024 or 2025 is going to be the year where every Bitcoin exchange has some kind of Lightning operability? Like, is this the year, or do we still have to wait a little bit?
We just watched Coinbase launch, and typically they're one of the slowest moving in this space. So, what are the rest of the exchanges doing? And there's tons of opportunity there, because what we just saw just the other day was the mainnet use of Taproot assets. So, if you want to have your like crypto casino and still be making money and have a great user experience, you have to start integrating Lightning, because that will get you access to all the Taproot assets. And for exchanges, you need all those exchange activities. When we're thinking, well, we can be monetary maximalists, when it comes to payments, you have to be open to everything, because like the payment system must work for speculation. It must work for all of these different use cases that money is used for in an economy.
Okay, great. Dom, I did see you had your finger up. You want one more question, and then I have one last question as well.
Yeah, Jesse, we talked a little bit offline. Y'all also do merchant stuff, but if someone, what's the best way to connect with y'all if I know a bar or a hotel that wants to start receiving Bitcoin as a payment, and how can y'all or how do y'all help navigate that or point people in the right direction?
For sure. For the business customers, they should go to Reflex Payment Operations. So that's rpo.dev, and we'll get them set up with the Hydro, which they'll need. We'll connect them to get a node, and we'll also help them with the risk management and payments operations. So one of the pieces is we actually run simulations to ensure that a business will be able to receive payments and receive payments reliably using those service level agreements that businesses expect.
Love it.
Hell yeah, love that.
Okay. Last question, Jessifer, before we wrap this up. And I will be putting you on the spot. I am kind of trolling you, but will Lightning scale Bitcoin?
Absolutely. I think we just passed 1 billion transactions on Bitcoin itself, but still nobody knows how many transactions have gone through Lightning, because it does have that privacy and it is reusable payments infrastructure. So you can have payments flying back and forth in real time to settle payments around the world at basically no cost. So Lightning is the scaling method for Bitcoin. It's one of the biggest multipliers for the effect of Bitcoin as a transaction medium. And we're going to see more innovation that's built on top of it, from Cashew, Fedimints, et cetera, that will further extend the reach of Bitcoin and the valuable properties that it brings with it.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, actually, one more trolley question while we wrap this up. Sorry. From what you just last said, what would be your response to the shitcoiners out there saying that Lightning is vaporware and not real Bitcoin?
Yeah, Lightning has failed completely. Yeah, I can. It's just so ridiculous. I don't have anything else to really say about it. But basically, we've had a payment system, since Diners Club, the Diners Club card. And all of that innovation has happened since like the 1960s, 1970s. So there's been like 50 years of development of a payment system, and it really hasn't changed all that much since. But we're seeing the actual innovation happen on Lightning, which is now, 5 years old, 6 years old, since, and it's continuing to innovate with open source tech. So the payments are getting better, and we're going to fade out Visa and MasterCard and these antiquated ideas of actual payment settlement.
Let's go. Let's go. All right. Well, the one and only Jesse Schrader, aka at Justifer BTC. Right now on the show, where do you want people to go check out? I just named your Twitter and all that, but what do you want people to check out? I know you're working on a lot of cool stuff. Let's get the audience to get in touch with you.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter or X at amboss.tech, or sorry, at amboss.tech. Yeah, follow along, stay engaged, start spinning up your node, and get connected on Amboss. Join the communities. We've got PlebNet still going strong. We've got the node stitches, which are connected on Nostr. Yeah, follow us there.
Let's go, man. Well, Justifer, it was good to have you on the show. Good to make content with you once again, bro. So pleasure's all mine. Thanks for coming on. We'll bring you back on in a couple of months, and we'll do some more updates. And guys, in the chat, or comment on the YouTube if you guys want more Lightning content. Talk about the Lightning Network. I'll bring Jesse back on, or I'll bring other people on, and we can get some more insights from layer 2 guys. But Jesse, thanks for coming on. Hang on behind the scenes while I wrap this one up. All right, you already know the deal. Thanks, Dom Bay, the one and only Dom Bay. Plug your Twitter for the audience out there and everything you're working on, and we'll wrap today's show up.
Yeah, so Dom Bay here. I am officially criminally overfollowed, so I need drop off, less followers, because I shouldn't have the followers I have. Baywatch 1, that's BEI Watch 1. And then any support, y'all know Simply Bitcoin fans always put on for Proof of Workforce, but I started a nonprofit that helps workers with no cost Bitcoin education and adoption and initiatives and all that stuff. And that's Workforce BTC. Any love there on spreading the word, letting us help more people. Truly always appreciative of any support for Proof of Workforce, and they're at Workforce BTC.
Let's go. All right, Dom. Well, thanks for filling in today. We'll bring you back on soon, and we'll get them some updates on everything you're working on as well. All right, guys. We made it through the Monday episode. I hope you guys get outside, touch some grass, eat some good food, get your mind right, get your body right. We are in this for the long run. And if you just happen to come to the show today because you don't like Elizabeth Warren, well, like, subscribe, share the content. That really helps us. But come back tomorrow. We'll be back for our normally scheduled programming. Nico will be back home. We'll get him back on the show. And then, of course, guys, keep your heads up. Stay in the game. We're directly over the target. The more they push back against us, the more you should know we are correct, and we are doing Satoshi's work. All right, on that note, guys, peace out. It's your boy Opti. I will see you on the flip side tomorrow. Peace.
It was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, on a mission to enable independence.